right now, I don't know of what would be coming. I've not heard of anything. But I will say that in the fall, I'll hear. It'll be coming and I'll hear. And Todd and them, they'll let me know if they hear stuff too. And then we can go ahead and start working on it. And what we'll try and do is take whatever that issue is and find a good common sense solution for it. And that's how we move forward. And if it has to go to study committee, it's going to go study committee so that we can work through the issue and find a good solution for it and be responsible for the citizens of the state of Georgia.
Two questions that I would like to sort of ask, and then I'll go around and ask any other committee members or people here today. One, there's been some discussion in previous years, and is there any discussions about potentially having a secure funding source for the water council or not?
We did add some funding last year. We worked with Governor Deal on that, and he's not wanting to see the councils disband either because we've come too far. And I think that we will probably, add each year in the budget. We'll have some funding for the water councils because it's so important that having the whole state integrated in this policy work is good. I mean, it is really good because you got people that live all in different regions that have totally different water policy issues than somebody in another region. So I feel real good about that. The governor was on board. We met with him and got a little funding in there, and I think we're good to go.
Thank you. One other question. There are some solid waste people in the room here today that I know of, and I know it's always been a concern of particularly the solid waste people, but counties as a whole on the trust fund. And you and I have had numerous conversations over trust funds, and there has been some effort to the positive side that's been made with the General Assembly on those. But I think the people of the Association of County Commissioners would like to see the dollars that are put in those trust funds utilized for the intended purpose. And at one time there was talk of a constitutional amendment or whatever, and I can understand the General Assembly not wanting to go along with that 100%, but do you see that the trust funds will be utilized for the intended purposes in the future?
I do. I think there's more and more desire for that to happen over time. It sure is since I first got elected in 2002 to today, that people want to make sure that the funds are used for what it's supposed to. Now we do have to have a balanced budget in the state of Georgia. And when you get into dire economic times, then that means that you have to take money from every little pot and balance your budget. So it gives us that ability too, but when times are decent, that money is going for what it's supposed to go for. When you have a crisis, you've got a crisis. And when I first got elected, we had a crisis. And we had to take money from every little nook and cranny and balance our budget and keep things afloat in the state of Georgia. So, but everybody wants that money to go for what it's intended for. When I buy tires and I pay that extra $1 for each tire, I want it to go for what it's intended for. And I don't know anybody that doesn't. And I think that, I don't know that you'll ever see a constitutional amendment on that just because we're required to have a balanced budget in the state of Georgia. But everybody that I know in the General Assembly wants that money to go for what it's supposed to go for.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to begin on my left. Is there any questions? Walter, you got anything?
Nothing burning right now. That's one concern I had, but you already answered it.
Yeah.
Going right on down the line, does anybody have any questions for Senator Tolleson? Ralph Nix, I didn't see you come in. I will like to acknowledge you though. Ralph's in charge of the Regional Commission here in Middle Georgia. Does a fantastic job. I'm glad to have you here today, Ralph. Go right on down the line. Anybody got any questions for Senator Tolleson? Now just think, it's not very often you got a senator up here you can ask any question you need to.
I've been shot at before.
And the chairman of the Natural Resources Committee.
That's right. What's left of it?
Anybody on this side got any questions?
You actually might pretty well present on when it comes to the solid waste issues.
Okay.
We'd love to see it dedicated and stay dedicated, but we know it's never going to happen people who